While Hasbro Pulse designer and Transformers designer Sam Smith was absent from the Transformers 2023 draft video we talked about yesterday, he is present quite here today, showing us a whole bunch of brand new images, spin down videos, and little details about our brand new Titan class. And more importantly, we get some really high quality images, as well as least as best as it could be for Instagram, the box art. So we're going to go into it. We're going to break down everything and make sense even of what's going on that box art, and then some, shall we? Really good stuff here. So Sam Smith gave us the lowdown on Instagram, mentions a shout out to Shogo Hisui, who helped him with designing our Titan class Legacy United Armada universe Tidal Wave. Mr. Masterpiece himself, Shogo Hisui, some of the best masterpieces ever done came from his hands, so pretty cool to see him involved in this project. A lot of stuff was covered here, a lot of cool photos, and again, great visuals, great videos and spin-arounds of how this item's going to look from every angle. So we get a really good idea of how big this item really is. Obviously, I've shown some images already now recently from the conventions and stuff, but this one really shows one for one how big it is compared to some of our more recent Titan classes that we have had. They showed a comparison, using obviously CAD models of how big it is compared to, let's say, the Arc from Kingdom or the Nemesis from the Legacy Evolution line. So both in robot mode, we got to see how big they are, as well as a combined mode, and with the alt modes from the other ones. So it gives you an idea of smaller than the more recent ones, but then again, I kind of forgive that because, Tidal Wave is a humongous character, depending on continuity, of course. It's something where to be a city former, that I don't know, but definitely a very large character that still deserves that Titan scale. And even in the alt mode actually kind of edges it out a little bit from the other ones in terms of size, but I mean, that's all just playing with how you move around the plastic and everything. But still pretty cool. Dig it. Really like what I see. Sam talked about how they didn't really want to have it be a parts former initially for the robot mode, but since it's so how that character works and making the Dark Fleet and stuff, they figured if they put in the base mode, it would kind of give it an excuse that it could transform from robot mode to something else instead. And I do find that interesting that they're kind of, hung up on parts forming, considering that they live in a world where they have tons of modulators, and those modulators become armor for our characters, and that's kind of what Tidal Wave does too. I guess they wanted to separate that. The Tidal Wave isn't a modulator. It isn't like what we've seen already. This is something that has a base mode, that has, a combined mode, that has this, that has that. I don't know. I guess they really wanted to avoid that. And look, I appreciate the base mode. I mean, it's something that I look at it and something that we probably would have thought up as kids, messing with our toys, always kind of figure out a base mode for some of our characters. I know I did. With my G1 blaster when I was like 5 years old. But point being is I dig it. I think it's I still think it's cool. And I think we could probably I still have to try that. I'm going to try to pull it off and see if I could make the base mode with the original Tidal Wave toy. See if we could kind of mimic that. There will be no Minicon Ramjet for now. But there will be a storage area for him, which you could see on one of the pieces there, much like the original. So stay tuned for that one. I'm telling you, they're going to do some kind of box set or something or whatever. We'll see. The Combiner mode name for Megatron is, of course, based off of the Japanese name for it, called Burning Megatron. This was some copy and packaging cross-sells that were used on the Japanese Micron Legend boxes, and, of course, packaging instructions. So it's kind of used there too. So that's where the naming comes from. Same thing with Dark Fleet. Dark Fleet also stems from that kind of stuff too. And speaking of the Dark Fleet, the smaller Dark Fleet pieces that make up your Burning Megatron are indeed mini versions of their larger counterparts. And they showed some nice images showing the full-size ones and the mini versions next to them there. So that's pretty cool. That they made the effort to do that, and they're stored all over Tidal Wave in different places and stuff that don't hinder the figure in any way. And there's another thing too, even though it was not part of the original Burning Megatron character model in the show, or how the toy loaded out originally back in 2001, 2002, they added these like heel risers for Megatron, which make up part of Tidal Wave's knees, just to kind of make Megatron more imposing and taller in his Burning Megatron mode, as opposed to just the regular leader class, Legacy, Evolution, Armada Megatron. They just want to make it just a little taller, so if you had them next to each other, there is a height difference too, where, traditionally a lot of combiner elements with some Transformers, they get like big feet components that make them taller or something. So I understand what they're getting at with that. I believe it started with God Jinrai in a lot of ways, and then of course Victory Saber and stuff, so I dig it. I think it's cool. When you take all those pieces that make Burning Megatron, Tidal Wave could transform, when you take off all those pieces off of Tidal Wave to make the Burning Megatron, Tidal Wave could still transform like his right arm to have some kind of a hand component with a thumb. So that way you could have Burning Megatron and Tidal Wave next to each other, and it does not hinder the final look of the figure. So that's pretty cool that they also made that extra effort. And Sam was asked a bunch of questions about repaints and what to do in the future with this mold. And people were obviously suggesting the toy colors. And he was like, yeah, that would be great for Studio Series Gamer Edition because of how he was, in toy colors in that video game version of Transformers Armada for PlayStation 2. And how he was depicted in that one as a Titan class. Like if there's any version of Tidal Wave up to this point that depicts him as this humongous Titan class character, it was in the video game in those colors. And so Sam, was very positive with that and saying, hey, if this is received well, we'll definitely look into it and see it as a Studio Series Gamer Edition Titan class. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I dig that a lot. I'm pretty sure people would love that. Now let's talk about that box art. So, like I said before in the past segments, historically, when we look at our Titan classes, we get little Easter eggs on them of future Transformer product that are going to be popping up in some shape or form. And we have one of these things here today where we have a whole bunch of guys on the box art. Now, granted, again, the problem with the box art that's provided to us is it's a social media Instagram post, which is limited to how HD the images could be zoomed in, but we do have at least a little bit of an idea of what's going on here, and isolating essentially 6 people from this box art that are attacking Tidal Wave. Now, some people have speculated that this is like, G2 Dead End and UK Iron Fist, Energon Bulkhead, shout out to Jesse Witherich who guessed that one. Action Master Mainframe was some things that were mentioned. Some people were saying this might be all 6 members of Monstructor in a lot of ways. Or how, there was a bunch of just generics in Armada to begin with in the background that use G1 designs in all kinds of wacky colors, and that's kind of conveying this too. I think what's probably going on here is very similar to what happened with the Legacy Evolution poster, where we had all of those Insecticons, and then behind those Insecticons, we had the G2 Insecticons, but done in incorrect colors. But you could clearly see the molds of the G2 Insecticons being done there, just in the incorrect colors of, traditional Insecticons. So I think that we're actually looking at 6 brand new toys that we're going to get, but they're just in those generic colors to homage, again, that wacky Armada using G1 design. So who are these 6? I mean, some people have speculated that, yeah, it could be potentially, Monstructor, because there's 6 of them here. That's one good guess. Some people, they look at like that one that some people call G2 Dead End. It's got wheels on there on the shoulders and on the legs. Clearly some kind of car bot. Some people think it's a Power Master like a Slapdash, which I think I would be pretty down for. Some people think it's Swindle. Some people think we're looking at, a future combiner of Bruticus with all the members of the Combaticons. That's a possibility too. It's very hard to tell with how low res these zoom-ins are. So, but I do agree that there is probably some kind of suggestion that the colors here are wacky and off to put it off that it's like Armada with those G1 designs, but if those actual designs themselves are based on future toys that we will get, just not in those colors. Much again like that Legacy Evolution Deluxe Insecticons, which now we know with the segment we talked about yesterday from Hasbro, that we will be getting deluxe Insecticons Generation 1, and we'll be completing with the other 3. So pretty cool. We'll see what happens. We don't have an answer at least, but we do have a general idea of where that's going with that, so we'll see what happens. This is pretty hype. We're going to get more information on this in the full video with Sam Smith and everything, and probably some other reveals too. December 18th, so stay tuned for that. That's going to be happening. So mark that on your calendar. That'll be another live stream video that they'll be doing on the Hasbro Pulse YouTube channel. But pretty cool otherwise. Let me know what you think. And again, awesome stuff going on here on the Transformer Slag podcast, and we'll keep you posted in the near future.